Science Competencies human behavior. Applies knowledge of the self, others and social systems to solve problems related to the psychological, socio-cultural and biological factors that influence health and well-being. Provide an example of how you have approached a problem related to human behavior, either in your own lived experience or through an academic policy analysis of an issue. How did your understandings of social structures and determinants of health inform your approach? What are the challenges and opportunities of taking a holistic view of health and well-being? Living systems. Applies knowledge and skill in the natural sciences to solve problems related to molecular and macro systems, including biomolecules, molecules, cells and organs. Provide an example of how you have approached a problem related to living systems. What knowledge and methods did you use to solve the problem? How did you gather additional information if needed? How did your approach demonstrate creativity and/or systems thinking? Thinking and reasoning competencies. Critical thinking uses logic and reasoning to identify the strengths and weaknesses of alternative solutions, conclusions, or approaches to problems. Describe a situation in which you used logic and reasoning to identify and weigh alternatives and arrive at an approach, decision, or conclusion. What factors did you consider and prioritize? How do you anticipate applying critical thinking as a medical student or practitioner? Quantitative reasoning. Applies quantitative reasoning and appropriate mathematics to describe or explain phenomena in the natural world. Provide a brief explanation of how you have used quantitative reasoning to describe, explain, or understand a natural or complex phenomenon. What were the strengths and limitations of employing a quantitative approach to understanding or explaining that phenomenon? Scientific inquiry. Applies knowledge of the scientific process to integrate and synthesize information, solve problems, and formulate research questions and hypotheses. Is facile in the language of the sciences and uses it to participate in the discourse of science and explain how scientific knowledge is discovered and validated. Provide a brief description of how you have applied the scientific process in your research, clinical, or course experiences. As appropriate, discuss how you developed questions and hypotheses, collected information, and contributed to the body of knowledge. Written communication. Effectively conveys information to others by using written words and sentences. Describe a situation in which you conveyed information effectively through writing. Who was the intended audience? How did you tailor your communication to that audience? How do you know the communication was effective?